I didn't like the film X at all, but now I find myself sat watching Pearl, and I wasn't going to watch this film. I wasn't giving it the time of day. So what's my thoughts on this prequel to last year's horror movie starring Mia Goth, X? Let's talk about it. Okay, so yeah, now I wasn't going to give this film the time of day. I've openly said I wasn't going to watch it. I've got no interest in it, and that much remained true. However, the wife said, "Oh, let's watch Pearl." So I was like, "Okay, fair. All right, okay. Look, I'm having a lazy afternoon. I'm not doing nothing. I haven't been too well, so I'll just sit here. I'll watch this film and indulge you in wanting to watch this. I've got to let her watch what she wanted to watch at times. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I enjoyed it. Wow, I enjoyed it. I actually like this film. I didn't like X, and that's not going to change. I didn't like it. But this film here is set in the early 1900s, about 1915, 1918. I can't remember the exact date it gives us at the beginning of the film. It's set on the same farm as what we've been introduced to in the movie X. And we're introduced to Mia Goth's character, Pearl, the old woman from X, but when she's a young girl, living there with her mother, her overbearing mother, and her father, who's essentially in a wheelchair, unable to move, unable to speak, essentially a vegetable sat there. But this film here, this is an exploration of this character Pearl, and in doing so, it's a completely different film to what X is. It's completely different in the way it's set up, in the way that it's shot, and all those differences come together for me to make a decent film, because this film is a focus upon the character of Pearl. It's the journey of this character becoming the character that we know, or a journey to becoming the character that we got to meet as the old woman in the film X. Now, X didn't work for me because it had a load of characters that were uninteresting, uninspired, who were not, who were all questionable in their motivations and this sort of thing. And I didn't enjoy that side of it. But this film here, we're introduced to this young girl through a very bright open scene, with a logo and words that are very reminiscent of films of that era, music playing, almost a kind of Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music kind of vibe to it, We're introduced to this character. She's living on this farm. She's happy-go-lucky. That's what she comes across as, and she's dreaming of becoming this the next big star in Hollywood, on the stage dancing and all this sort of a thing, and and her journey to becoming that. But like I said, she's got this overbearing mother, and she has to fend for her father. She has to do everything for him, basically clean him up after he soils himself and things like this. Not a very nice life for a young lady to be living. She is married, but her husband is overseas at war, World War One, in Europe, and so this loneliness of living on this farm, because there's a virus about in town in America that's people are afraid of, so they're going out masked up, very much a sort of a reflection of society today, or society from a year or so ago anyway. I'm pretty sure that they were going for that sort of a vibe, a sort of holding a mirror up to society today. And in her loneliness, in her absence from people, she starts to go a bit cuckoo. She starts to go a little bit crazy, and she starts off like normal serial killers do. She's killing animals. Still, she starts upping the ante, and she meets this projectionist. She goes to a cinema. She meets a projectionist who basically befriends her, and she ends up having a relationship with him, ends up killing him, as well as killing her mother and killing her father as well, all on this journey to become this star. And in doing so, she goes and auditions for this role, and she's turned down for the role, but her sister-in-law, her husband's sister gets the role, and she ends up killing her after opening up to her and spilling everything about what she's done and this sort of a thing. And yeah, and it's an interesting journey into the psyche of this character, into you know what happens. Like I said, the film is completely different in the sense that its writing is different, the journey, the structure of the film is different. X was very much a sort of horror film. You know, a group of people go to a cabin, you know, a desolate farm, and there's some nutters there that start killing them, that sort of thing. Very, you know, sort of horror centric. The horror's done a million times. This here is more of a psychological kind of journey into the mind of this young girl, and you've got to feel sorry for her. You've got to actually like, and you come to, I don't know, the film does a great job. You don't hate her in it. You don't hate her, and you're intrigued as to what's going on. Now, like I said, the film is super violent. There are some violent scenes in it. There's some fantastic acting from Mia Goth herself. She is pretty much in every scene of the film. The film doesn't really cut away from her at all. It is pretty much but it's got some questionable scenes where she's like riding a scarecrow, humping a scarecrow essentially, and stuff like this, and she's kissing it, and you know, so it does sort of, and it does tie in slightly thematically with X and that sort of porno side of it, you know. In the projectionist shows her a film from Europe that is what class in them days as pornography. So it does kind of thematically touch on that in a very minor way. There are a few other characters within the film. At one point they get gifted this roasted pig for them to eat, that the mother of the husband of the boy who's married to Pearl gifts to the family, but they don't want to take it because they don't like charity, and this pig stays on the doorstep and rots. Now the pig is actually a metaphor for the character of Pearl and how she starts to rot at the core because of she's not right anyway, but how she's treated by people, but what she wants and the jealousy that she feels, and all this sort of stuff to build her up to this character of what she becomes. And in doing so, they created and crafted an interesting film about this villainous character. And, you know, there was nothing I didn't enjoy. I think it overstayed its welcome maybe by about 10 minutes for me personally. But as a sort of insight into this character, I was quite intrigued. Will it make me want to go back and watch X again? No, not at all. I don't want to see X. I've got no intrigue or no interest in revisiting that. My opinion on that film still remains the same. I did do a review for it. You can go and check that out if you so wish. I do think it's a manipulative piece of cinema. And this film does, like I said, it does attempt to delve into that film's themes, but in a very minor way. This film has its own themes going on through it, but from the trailer I got the impression that it was going to delve quite a bit into the themes of that film. However, it chose not to. And on the journey of this character, I thought the journey was going to go a certain way, and it didn't. But there we go. But no, I enjoyed it. I'd be open to another one. I know they're doing the film Maxine. I'm not entirely sure anything about it, if that is a continuation of this and this character's journey. I don't think it is, because this character here, she wanted to escape this farm. And she just couldn't do it. Nothing allowed her to escape away from this farm, and it's almost symbolic that the farm has the home where she wanted to live and get away from has actually become her prison, so to speak, because we know that in X she's still living there on this farm. So that's kind of a comeuppance for the stuff that she's done, in a sense. I don't know if the film Maxine steps beyond that, but that will remain to be seen. Like I said, I don't read nothing about it, and it'll come and I'll watch it. Anyway, this is AJ. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care all. Goodbye.
I want to be loved from as many people as possible. But truth is, I'm not really a good person. I wanna be